Hey, Chinwaggers, it's Stephen Asma, and while Paul is off embracing his thespian pursuits, we're revisiting one of Chinwag's early gems. Today, we're re-airing our delightful conversation with the incomparable Kathryn Hahn. You know her from so many standout roles in TV and film, from Bad Moms to Step Brothers to Hulu's Tiny Beautiful Things. And next, she'll reprise her iconic role as Agatha Harkness in the upcoming Marvel Disney Plus series, Agatha All Along. So get ready as we delve into the labyrinthian world of cults, the realm of hypnosis, and recount the harrowing time Paul was almost kidnapped by Krishnas in Northern Ireland. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kathryn Hahn.
Welcome to Chinwag, people. A new episode, another episode. Thank you for joining us. We've been having a swell time here at the Chinwag.
We have, and like all good Chinwags, we have sort of an ability to start with a topic, but then wander aimlessly through a variety of other topics.
Yeah.
But today we're going to have a wonderful international treasure, the great actress Kathryn Hahn.
Yes, she is an award-winning actress you know from a wealth of TV and movies that you love.
And her latest series, Tiny Beautiful Things, is streaming now on Hulu.
Now, today, we are going to be discussing the dark and mysterious world of cults. And I feel that it's important to offer this disclaimer before we begin our special journey and tell you that neither Steve nor I, nor Ms. Kathryn Hahn, are experts on the subject of cults. And I hasten to add, I'm an expert on absolutely nothing. Dave,
so today you're going to be hearing about cults from three people who don't know anything about
don't know anything about anything they're talking about. So just bear that in mind as you listen to this endless stream of blather. So stick around.
We are also going to have topics like hypnotism. We get into brainwashing dogs, kidnapping, radical nuns. At some point, we end up talking about lice couches.
Correct. We talk about His High Holiness the Pope, and we talk about the thrilling story of Travis the chimpanzee. So buckle up. Going to be a bumpy ride with the great Ms. Kathryn Hahn.
Guys, I'm losing my mind.
What are you eating? Were you just like chowing? What are you having?
No, I've got a bag of nuts.
Is that really what that is? Or is that, okay.
You know, what if it's a bag of goldfish?
That would be like live goldfish?
I just went to the...
Sure, just chowing, just handfuls of goldfish. Hi, Kathryn.
My friend.
Oh, my friend. How are you?
I don't know. I'm good. Everything's great.
Excellent. Good. Mm-hmm. Good. This is my friend Steve.
Hi, Kathryn. Nice to meet you.
I love that you were pointing the opposite way.
Was I pointing the wrong way?
Technology is amazing.
Technology is amazing. That's because I'm in a different, right? I don't have the proper grid. But that's Steve, whichever.
Hi,
if
Steve.
I go that way.
Hi, Kathryn.
Thank you for having me on, and congratulations. Of course, on your podcast.
Thanks a lot. Fantastic. You're down in Atlanta, huh?
I am.
Fantastic. Have you been enjoying? Have you gone to Fox Brothers, the barbecue down there?
I'm actually in Fayetteville. So this is my backyard. Look how beautiful.
That's amazing.
Sweet.
Well, it's so funny. Someone was saying there's 12 seasons in Georgia. And we just went through the third winter, and we're about to go in the pollinator.
Sure.
Which I was like, great. So everything is dripping.
Yeah.
I have one drippy eye, one weepy eye.
Fantastic. That's useful, though. Yeah, that's awesome.
Makeup loves it.
Oh, really? Are you like constantly weeping during the thing? They have to keep coming in
I
and
don't know why I'm crying all the time. And then
it feels compassion in the audience.
I'm going to ask you something. We'll get to
I'm having a hot flash.
Wow, you go. Okay, good. Here we go. Spicy after hours. Now, wait a minute. I was just going to ask you something totally not irrelevant, but I'm just curious to know this about you. Because we did a motion picture together, but I don't remember a thing because I was drunk. I was drunk the entire time.
I remember something so particular about it that,
Oh.
One of the last things you said to me.
Oh dear. Okay.
Was, I'm sorry if I was a disappointment to you.
Well, you're not the only person I've said that to. And you're not the only person that's heard that as I'm going out the door. Let me tell you. Okay. No, but here's my question for you. Because like I say, I was inebriated the entire time we made that film.
Bullshit.
I know it is bullshit, but I just thought I'd say because I don't. But
You're a genius.
Are you one of these people that can be like, which eye do you need me to cry out of? Do you need me to do the left eye or the right eye?
Now I can.
Now you can.
Now it's nonstop. Just
normally,
old person weepy eye.
Normally, are you one of these people that can cry out of one of the? Can you just turn it on like a faucet? Are you one of those crying faucet people?
No.
No.
Are you?
No.
Do you remember in acting school, like everyone would be around me sobbing and I would be like, I feel nothing.
Exactly.
And I hate all you people. I don't understand anything. I want to get out of here. People would be like, what do you want? And I'd be like, I don't know.
I want a career is what I want.
I don't know what I want.
I want out of here. Speaking of drama school and speaking of cults.
Oh, what a transition. Holy God. I got to say, though, first, I saw that movie you guys were in together.
Okay.
I love that movie.
Dynamite. That is a fantastic movie.
Thank you,
Private
Steve.
Lives, right?
Yeah,
Private
thank you,
Lives
Steve.
Private Life.
Private Life.
Yes.
Beautiful,
Private
beautiful
Life.
film. Everybody
It
should
is
see
dynamite.
film.
Dynamite is a good word
It's
for
a
that.
great
movie.
word. I love that movie so much.
I do too.
Tamara
And-
Jenkins.
Yeah, cults. Cults.
But anyway, cults.
No, but hold on. But Steve, I think you're one of about 17 people that saw the frickin' thing. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you.
I mean,
tell
it's like
everybody
nobody
I
saw
know.
it. Good.
Yeah.
All right, because nobody saw the thing.
It's such a
which is-
beautiful movie.
It's a
is.
beautiful movie. Yeah, it's a really nice movie.
And I think it's a
Same
it's a
year as
topic.
Roma.
Oh, is that
Oh,
right?
was it?
Oh.
Was that what happened? Roma took over?
No, that's not what happened, but I remember it.
Do you know what I was thinking lately? Recently, you know what I was thinking, Kathryn? I was thinking of changing my name to Oscar Buzz. Mr. Buzz. Mr. Buzz is going, who's Mr. Buzz? Oh, no, that's Oscar Buzz. Yeah, I thought I'd
There
call
was an
myself.
actor in LA that had his license plate literally said IMDb me.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That's
God.
good. I like that.
Not great, but it was
No, I
cute.
don't. Yeah, that is cute. Oh, Kathryn Hahn.
Oh my God, I miss you so much.
Steve and I were just sitting and talking. Oh, what are we having there? A little electrolyte. What are we doing? What are we ingesting?
We're just tracking everything you're putting into yourself.
This is what I have. Iced tea.
Okay.
Is this
This is a LaCroix with, I'm going to be very honest with you, a little teeny 2.4 packet of THC in it.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. Fair enough. I was
Fair
going to
enough.
say, it looked, I was
We're-
going to
we're
say,
tripping.
unfortunately, I was going to say, yeah, we're tripping. And I was going to say, unfortunately, it looked like a urine sample. I did a little bit. It looked like, I was going to say, that's
Water
okay.
Wow. Is this
Very
the Kathryn
good.
Hahn diet?
Yeah.
and nuts.
Is this the whole thing?
Yeah, this is after
Kathryn, did you
this is
have you
after
ever-
a junket. I thought I would just slow it down. I was gonna just I'm gonna just like
junketing. Junketing.
this is post junket with my friend Paul.
That's nice. Oh, so we're post junket. That's good. So this will be like a nice palate cleanser,
I
won't
can't tell you how much I was looking forward to this.
it? Really?
Well,
Wait till
Paul
wait till
told me
start.
that you're an expert in cults, and
Yeah,
we wanted
I
to
said-
pick your brain on your expertise.
And actually, I was thinking, but we were obsessed with the Turpin family, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that
the
what they were
Turpin
called?
family.
The Turpin.
Well,
Do you know
we were
who they were,
obsessed
Steve?
with his haircut in court.
That's true.
Well, wait, is that the guy? Is that the Sarah Lawrence sex cult thing that just
Oh.
happened? Is that the Sarah Lawrence case?
No, but
Or is this
that's
a different one?
fascinating.
That's super
Oh my God,
fascinating. No,
that's
the
great.
Turpins. Well, that's both of them were interesting because they weren't quite. Well, the Turpins aren't a cult; they were a family. But the effect is the same, Kathryn. It's the same shit. I mean, it's the same shit going on. And the guy at Sarah Lawrence, what was his name? I can't remember that guy's name.
I don't know that story, but I want to
like-
know it.
He was like
Go ahead.
he was a
Steve.
former FBI guy, or he had connections to the government. He comes out of jail and crashes on his daughter's couch at Sarah Lawrence, and then he slowly, systematically, brainwashes all of her roommates to become like sex slaves,
Sex
and-
workers.
all
Sex
kinds
slave-
of
Yeah,
I mean,
sex
sex
workers,
slave.
sex slave, both. And it was like, but it's weird because it was not really, it was just these like 4 or 5 kids. It wasn't like a big extensive cult or something like, yeah, it was a
Awful,
micro
though.
cult.
Yeah, I say sex
Awful.
worker, but it sounds like a slave.
Yeah,
But
no,
the kids were smart. So the question is it was some of them were very smart. And how do you get sucked in
that's
when you're
what I
that
don't
intelligent? by some guy just
That's
telling
why I
you-
was obsessed with the Nexium situation.
Oh, Nexium, yeah. What's
Very
that one?
good. Describe Nexium, Kathryn Hahn.
Okay, Keith Raniere. Have you seen all of that?
I have not seen I've not seen the documentaries.
No,
I know
I read
about
about
it.
it.
No. Yeah. Yeah, I know about it. But what was the deal with it? Do you know the sort of vague background? What was the deal?
He started, I think, something that was vaguely, first, I mean, he was just a con artist. Like, he started, it was kind of like it was like a Dale Carnegie-esque kind of like, how to, it was like
Impresario.
kind of very, and then he kind of hooked up with this woman who was a hypnotist. And they started this kind of, how to realize your dreams and potential. And she, Nancy is her name. She really was obsessed with him.
Right.
And sexually attracted, but he never kind of gave it to her. And had daughters. And
she had daughters.
Yes.
And he preyed on the daughters.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Yeah.
But it became bigger and bigger, and like a lot of the Bronfman family, who was Seagrams and like money, gave a ton of money. It became like this huge thing. And within this group, a group of women separately, including this actress, Allison Mack, formed this kind of separate group called
it was something like that.
And they became this kind of it was like a women's empowerment group, but it really was
his elite like harem kind of.
His elite harem, in which there was literal branding on their bodies.
Oh,
that's right.
I heard that. I heard about branding. That's right.
And some of them are still, he's in jail.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them are still following him.
Right. We were just talking about this. The fact that even afterwards, people will still continue to believe. I think there are still people who follow the Heaven's Gate thing.
Yeah,
I think there are still people. There are. There are still people to the Branch Davidians. I think that
Jones,
like People's Temple. I think there's still people fucking doing that stuff,
dude,
which is incredible.
When we went to Texas, when my husband was doing a play at Dallas, we of course drove to Waco. Yeah. Went immediately to the town center. We were like, where's a good place to eat? And also the site of the former Branch Davidian.
Sure.
And they were like, here's the direction.
They didn't want, you're not from around here, are you?
And that's there. Is there like a...
They have planted trees for everyone that had died. It's very profound. But there's also a lot of people watching. And there were cars. There is seriously still Branch Davidians. Like it's still
there must be. I often wonder that too about like the People's Temple down in Guyana. But here's the thing. But you raised some really interesting points, Kathryn Hahn. This is incredible so far. But but it's interesting that part of the thing is like, do they start out? Is he just a con man to begin with, or is he a guy who actually thinks he's doing something good for people and then he fucking just loses his mind?
My theory is a con man. That the power starts to happen, never had it as a kid, never really got it going on for himself, never got the girls, never had the thing. All of a sudden there's power. And then all of a sudden he knows there's something that he can like harness and yield to entrap and entice and use women against women. And all of a sudden there is this it gets in too deep.
Yeah.
You have to watch these documentaries.
I do.
This kind of person has a very keen sense of human psychology, so they can manipulate it. But I think you're right.
Well, he's got this woman who's a hypnotist.
But that's the other thing.
That works on everybody?
Well,
or just
that's
some of the
another
people?
question I was going to. But hold on. But that's the other thing is that I think actually what's really key with people like this is that they get somebody to facilitate them well.
And she's also a great front.
A handler.
Because she's older. She looks respectable. She looks like you're like, oh, of course. Well, if she's his right hand, then it all looks fine. Like, of course I'm signing up for this. Like, that's a mother of two. She's like, she's so kind. Like, why would she get involved? Like, there's clearly nothing going on between them. Like, she looks solid. Like, how could anything go wrong?
No, that helps. And that's a huge help, is to get people like that aiding you to do it.
We'll be right back.
I've always wanted to say that.
Well, talking about cult shit, though, have you guys heard of Teal Swan?
No.
She is an expert.
What is Teal Swan? TL Swan? Oh, TL Swan is the imposter, right?
No, it's
okay, then tell me.
TEAL Swan.
Let's hear it.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
There's a documentary about her. She has this is a whole world of the internet that I know nothing about. But she's very hypnotic, beautiful woman, long dark hair. She has had a series of videos for a long time about self-help. She herself experienced a lot of trauma. She has this very intense very calming background, and she stares directly at you, and she will just like nonstop words into the camera.
Yes.
Over and over again.
I've seen this woman, and she's sort of QAnon-ish, isn't she?
I don't know.
All right. Okay.
But anyway, there's millions and millions of followers and subscribers. Yeah. And then she does these workshops that there's a lot of like, is that waterboarding?
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
It's on the verge of waterboarding.
It's like a little intense, like therapies.
Wow.
To like get people to snap out of stuff.
To break them down.
And then she ran away to Costa Rica, and now she's in Costa Rica still working.
Is the government after her or something?
And she's now like trying to defend herself still through these videos. You have to look her up. She's
okay. One of the things they do is like they have these events like a waterboarding or some traumatic event that the whole group has to go through. And then you actually bond together because you shared this trauma or some kind of like dramatic experience.
Leave. No one can marry. If you leave her, you have to sign a contract saying that no one else, you can't have a partner while you're in the group. You can't do anything, but you can't describe it as a cult. It's not a cult, but it's all of a sudden you're in a cult living in Costa Rica and you can't leave.
Yeah. One of the things you said though, because I watched, because here's the other thing. I watched that Keith Raniere guy. That's his name, right? The NXIVM guy.
Yeah. Who's so like, what?
Right. That's the thing. I'm like, you watch him and you're like, not charismatic, not compelling. Like this weird dweeby guy who's really dweeby. But I say to myself, he just speaks in a steady stream. He never searches for a thought. He's trained himself. It's true. And I think that's part of it, is that you just keep bombarding the people with words, and he kind of keeps turning everything around on the other person and stuff like that, so that you get this steady stream of talk. But then I figured maybe there must be some animal magnetism in the room, a charisma or something that we don't get because we're not in the room with the guy. But he must be in some way charismatic, right?
I mean, have you seen those videos of his late night volleyball sessions he made everybody do?
Whatever that is, it sounds great.
He won't like when he finally like had everybody like move to New York. I think it was like upstate New York or something. Like they all took over this area. So they all lived in a certain small, I'm not sure. It might've been New York, but then all of a sudden he'd be like, let's go. And it was like brainwashing. Like he would have everybody in his inner circle have to meet at like 11, because that's when he like got his ideas.
Yeah, well, that's the like
and so he put his
sleep deprivation.
He would put his like literally like a one of those elastic headbands on.
Bad 80s headbands and the wristbands.
Things, and then he'd be like, let's go.
Jesus Christ.
Not great, but like not even great volleyball player, but just like, and it was like, he would just play volleyball. Everyone would have to do it.
Well, yeah.
That's like, when he got inspired.
Yeah, but it's also sleep deprivation. You keep people awake.
But there's definitely volleyball must be a cult technique, because I knew a guy who was going to these dinners at the, to get the Hare Krishna dinners in college, and they invite him for a weekend. And at the end of the weekend, they play volleyball, and they're playing volleyball. He's like, why is
the Hare Krishna? Wait a minute, the Krishnas are playing volleyball?
Yes, seriously.
Okay.
And it's getting more and more intense.
With the ponytails and the robes?
Yeah, with the robes flipping up.
And they're getting more and more intense. And then finally, as it's at
a lot of tripping,
pitch, they start singing the song, and then the game falls away, and then they're all embracing in a washing sweep of Hare Krishna. And then that's how they get you.
It's through that.
It's volleyball.
Because then you're crying and...
Yeah, because then all of a sudden, like between like things, he'd be just drinking water, sitting on a bench, and shit would just come out of his mouth, and everyone's sitting around and he would just be talking.
Not compelling.
And
not compelling.
Disgusting. But like people would just be like sitting around it, and like everyone's just like leaning in, like all these everyone's like,
yeah, you're a genius. But that leads. That's the whole thing of how do you really smart people. So I don't fault these people in any way at all.
But there's videos of him meeting this young actress. There's a scene in which he's meeting this young actress at the volleyball court for the first time. That woman, Allison Mack, who is like pouring her heart out to him. And he is listening so intensely with his thing on. And their connection is like so deep. Yeah. And you're like, she's giving the performance of the audition of her life.
Wow.
Yeah.
And he is like, and you're like, oh my God, she's going to get the part.
Well, that's right, because he's grooming her to be his second in command, kind of too.
It's like she's always wanted to. It's like I kept thinking she's always wanted to be number one on a call sheet, and now she's number one on the cult call sheet.
Wow, on the cult call sheet.
And he's like, okay, but it's so crazy.
It is crazy, but I get it. I get it too, because I go, I think I would never be susceptible to that kind of thing. I think I'm so skeptical it would never happen to me, but I suppose it easily could.
I don't think it could happen to you.
No, I mean, but
you're too dark-minded. You're
too cynical.
Nihilistic.
I'm too paranoid. Is that what it is?
I'm
probably too
paranoid, and you're too cynical.
But here's my thing: is that I actually think cults are a kind of handy metaphor for a lot of life. I actually think in general, a lot of human behavior, a lot of social situations mimic cults. I mean, I think a lot of workplaces, it gets culty. Yeah. It's
we talk
all
about
of that
cult
shit.
of one all the time.
Right.
Relationships.
Yeah. Families are culty.
Yeah. Cult of bombing.
Yeah. All of that stuff gets very, very
I think
culty.
it does. It hijacks. What cults do is they hijack natural human social tendencies. We're suckers. Somebody tells you something you want to hear. They say you're beautiful, you're smart, and then you're projecting and bonding. And then the cult uses all that to its advantage. Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to be somebody special, and then the cult comes along and says you are somebody special.
Right. And
there's
that's happened.
Woman. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Please.
There was
No, please.
There was a woman in this NXIVM documentary that was, I guess, oh my God, it's a horrible, it's just so many, there's horror story on horror story, but she, illegal, an immigrant who didn't have he kept her papers. And her mother's papers, no way to even go home. And she was so in it that she allowed herself to be kept in an unlocked fucking room for 2 years.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Amazing. Yeah.
Her family, they would open the door, put food in, and close the door. The windows were closed. She was in a dark room, unlocked for 2 years. That's the power that this mechanism allowed.
Well, would that work on you? Would Would that work on anybody, you think, or it's a specific kind of victim that it works on, you think? Or not victim, but a mindset,
I don't know.
She had no way out, though. She couldn't go anywhere.
Well, then once you're locked in a room, what the hell? I mean, that's going to start.
It was unlocked.
It wasn't locked, right?
Oh, true.
She's submitting herself to this kind of.
Yeah.
But then no one had her papers. No one had her mother was in it. Her sister was in it.
Oh,
they were compelled into it. Like it was. I mean,
but this is what. But that's what I mean. But that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like you put yourself in these situations. Like I was saying to Steve, it's like certainly you've been on movies that are just like, this is going terribly. It's awful. People are being tortured. Everything's horrible. But everybody's walking around going, it looks great. It's going really great. Isn't it terrific? It's really great. And I sometimes think it's culty. Like it can get very culty.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It can get very culty. I mean, I guess in those situations, because there's a finish line and because there's money involved, people just go like, la. But like,
that's a good point.
But that's a
very good point.
But you're absolutely right.
Aren't you essentially doing in your family? You're brainwashing your kids. I mean, aren't you basically like breaking your kids' will and like brainwash? Which is the Turpins, basically. Yeah. Isn't everybody essentially the Turpins at heart? I mean, everybody with kids. Boy,
yes, I hope it's not that bad. Jesus Christ. I looked at that family again and I was like, holy fuck.
That's abuse. That's not every family.
No, I know. But essentially you are sort of like, there's brainwashing going on all the time. You're essentially kind of like brainwashing your kids. I think you are. Brainwashing animals. We brainwash dogs. We do it. It's just terrible. We do it to everybody.
But we can't brainwash dogs. But you're right. You can't help it. Like once a child is born, that's just what's happening. Like, unless you literally are so hands off that they're just wild animals.
Yeah. There's the hippie style of parenting.
Your point of view.
Let your kid go.
Yeah, I guess just letting your kid run wild.
And the older I get, the more I'm like, I guess I'm like shrugging off the coat of my mom and my dad. Like the more I'm like, oh, right, you start to realize like what you're carrying that's not yours. Like, my idea of money is not my idea of money. Like,
so much of it's not yours.
Yeah.
Like a ton of it's not yours. And then you just get down to who the hell am I? I'm just, there's no one here.
There's nobody home.
Has anybody ever tried to hypnotize you? Has you ever done any of that kind of like?
I
really?
have. Well, I did it. I did it. What if I was just like, I don't know.
No, but did you ever? Because
every director I've ever worked with.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No, but the like hypnotism when they bring up and they like act like a chicken kind of thing. I don't buy that stuff.
Well,
I don't think that's
I definitely one. I did it to quit smoking, and that
worked.
Did not. Well, it worked for a little bit, and then I went back on it. But then I quit by myself. But the guy was very interesting. Because he kept going like this in his chair, and then every couple of seconds he would take a sip of water, and he had the creepiest, weird old movie posters on the wall, and I was like, and it was in his garage, and everything about it was
doesn't sound safe.
Weird. No, everything about it was so weird that I was like, I don't know. It was kind of the vibe was like, smoking really does sound disgusting. So maybe that was like why I was.
Well, that is what it sounds like. Yeah, I don't think I buy the whole hypnotism thing.
I did it once for something else, and I remember her being like, I was just like I had to I kind of did it for something else, and I was sitting there, and it was very relaxing, and I definitely remember her being like, "You're walking down the stairs," and I was like, deeper and deeper, walking down the stairs, you're deeper and deeper. And I was like, I remember just my mind just went so far away. I was just like, to-do list. Like I was just off the stairs. Like I was just
totally.
And then I was like, get back on the stairs.
Yeah, totally.
And
no, there's no way. Yeah.
An audible snore came out that just woke me up from it. And she was just sitting there. And I was like, I remember being like, oh, I'm sorry.
No.
And then I gave her $250.
Right. See, that's the thing with me. I don't think it's that I'm so dark and so paranoid. It's that I have the fucking I have ADD up the fucking ass. Like I can't concentrate on anything. No, I can't pay attention for long enough. I'm just going to be like, there's no way you could fucking get me. Now I'm just remembering this because I thought, I was thinking I was going to ask if you'd ever done the Scientology tests or anything like that. But I was remembering that I was nearly kidnapped by the Krishnas in Northern Ireland. I was in Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Whoa.
Not kidnapped. But it's what always makes me think about what if I'd actually gone off with the Krishnas? I was in Northern Ireland. I was in Belfast. Belfast, Northern Ireland, which was weird. And the Krishnas were huge. They were all over Ireland, which was really peculiar.
They were Catholics.
Listen, it was the 80s, so who knows?
Okay.
I mean, it was the mid 80s, and they had some sort of island off the coast where they had established a big commune. And I was walking around Belfast, which was a really harrowing place to begin with. And
I'd love to go.
And now it's fantastic. Now it's not at all what it used to be like. But I remember stopping outside of a vegetarian restaurant and contemplating whether I would go in, and then realizing I was looking through the windows, it was a Krishna restaurant because I could see all these Krishnas. And all of a sudden I heard behind me these people sort of beckoning me, saying hello. And I turned around, there was a van behind me and the doors were open. And there was a very old woman sitting in the van surrounded by all these Krishna children, kind of like a brood of puppies, all these kind of little Krishna children sitting in there. And she was waving me over. She was come in, and I started walking towards them. And all of a sudden I had two Krishna guys on either side of me. I'm sort of trying to force me into the van.
What?
And I thought to myself,
I
thought the Krishnas kidnap people? That's all I could think. I just thought, this is absurd.
Honestly.
Yeah, and I started yelling and screaming, and I fought away, and I got away with it. But sometimes I think to myself, what would have happened? Maybe if I'd gotten kidnapped, I wonder if they could have broken me. I wonder if I would have actually, because I don't know.
Tactic by the Krishnas?
I don't know. I was really shocked that the Krishnas were doing
Me too. That feels very shocking.
Friends, now a message from our sponsor.
I was raised Catholic, and I was oh, hey, okay.
Yeah.
And it was more of a social thing in my family. It was more, it had been Catholic all the way back, but it was more, by the time it got to us, it was definitely, my family is more like the cheapest private education in Cleveland, and I grew up in Ohio. But I was raised by some pretty radical nuns. I loved them. I loved
radical
the nuns.
How? They were cool. They were
radical because
political.
you could tell that they had two options. They could fucking get married or become a nun. But when they became nuns. And so I had a mad respect. Yeah. They at that age, that those were their fucking options, and they were slim.
Yeah.
So they found, and they lived I could just tell that they lived together. They just were educators. They lived in this awesome house. They made food together, and they were like, fuck it. We're gonna just get long gray hair, make food together, make stone, make carvings out of wood,
make jam and stuff
and
like
jam
that.
And shit like that.
Preserves. Stuff.
It was, to me, they were the coolest.
Amazing.
Because I was
That's awesome.
I get it.
Yeah.
If I were,
and they're intellectuals too. They're readers, probably
completely. And they were really pushed a lot of interesting books on us. I was into those nuns.
Yeah. That's good. That's nice to hear. I'm actually glad to hear you had a positive experience with them.
Yeah, a lot of people had bad nun experiences. Yeah. In my elementary school, it was different. Elementary was a different order, but in high school. Oh, really? Well, elementary school, they were just you have one tissue, and you only saw this part of their face, and everything else was the habit. But
what do you mean one tissue? What does that mean? You could only have one Kleenex for?
And she was like, you use it all day, and I was like, that is disgusting.
Really?
Yeah, they would hit people with rulers and shit. It was like abuse.
Your sister Aloysius.
Was there corporal punishment when you guys were there?
I never had corporal punishment, but I will say that there was a green couch outside of the principal's office, and you sat on it if you had lice or if you got in trouble. And
so they sent you to the principal's office.
I got busted. I got busted.
Did you have a lot of lice? Did you have a lot of lice, Kathryn? Were you crawling with lice?
You know what? I was crawling with shit.
Wait a minute. They send you to the principal's office? They send you to the principal's office if you had lice?
Yeah,
and then wouldn't you send you home?
You got to contain it, man.
I guess so. They wouldn't just send you.
Can't you have a separate fucking couch?
Yeah. Now the couch is just going to be fucking crawling with lice.
No, they couldn't get their shit together, but I did love the nuns there.
That's amazing.
Anyway,
no. In fact, in
terms of like a cult situation, I always felt like that was an interesting pull because I felt their tug with the priests.
Mm-hmm.
I could always feel it in high school that they were like there was a tug between them and the
how so
at the church.
What do you mean?
I just had this like there's this undercurrent of like them doing their thing in the convent and the freaking moist shit-faced priests,
the pedophiles and the drinkers.
They were just shit-faced
Interesting.
Inviting everybody over to the rectory to get wasted on every holiday.
Okay, sure. And do you mean that the nuns were kind of kicking back against them because they felt a little bit sat upon by these? Yeah. We got our own shit going on here.
They were never invited to those parties. They were just kind of like, we got our own thing going on. Like, we're not going to. I felt that vibe.
That's cool.
I was raised Catholic too, and there's a kind of they're sort of the opposite of a cult because they don't even read the Bible. They ask the priest or the nun what to think. But Protestants, like I noticed my son is sort of like the perfect demographic age. He's in college. He's 19. He tells me about his social world. And every once in a while, it'll be like, yeah, these Christians invited me over for dinner. And I'm like picturing like birds of prey, like circling around him. And I'm like, well, watch out, man. Just be careful. But Catholics never do that. They're just like, yeah, we just get the holy water. That's the end of it.
I guess they don't, do they? They don't like proselytize and try to force you to come into it.
No. It's like Judaism. The Jews don't do that either. It's like, you're in, you're out.
Yeah, there's no proselyting. Yeah. Right, exactly.
That's interesting. Yeah. I've never really thought of that being the case. Interesting.
Yeah, they don't need to because they stole it all anyway. It's all at the Vatican.
Yeah, it's true. What does the Pope do all day? I often wonder, like, what the fuck is he doing a lot of the day? Does he sit and watch like TV and stuff like that? Does the Pope does he get downtime and stuff like that? I'm serious. I always wonder this about the fucking Pope. Or is he just praying all day? Or is he like, what is he doing?
This is the image that came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
He's standing in one of his windows, just like a beautiful window.
Okay.
He's got one of his beautiful coats on, and there's someone behind him with a steamer, making sure that there's no wrinkles on it. And he just has to stand there looking at birds.
That's basically what he does.
Yeah.
Is he drinking? Yeah, but honest to God.
No, he can't get anything on that white robe, so maybe someone comes over with
somebody's got a fucking handy wipe around him all the time.
And a little
straw.
And a big long straw. And he's like, I just can't. But does he watch TV? I'm serious. Does he watch TV and shit?
There's that show with the two popes, and they if it can be believed, yeah, it was very good. And they show them like watching shows on VHS tape and shit like this.
Amazing.
So it does make it seem like they're just regular Joes or whatever.
I guess so. I don't know. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by the whole Pope thing. It just seems
Me too.
completely
This Pope
bonkers
was supposed to be cool, but then I guess not as
nobody likes him now. I guess not.
Cooler than some of the past ones, I think.
I guess so. I
haven't followed any of that. I mean, I haven't been like clicked into it.
But that stuff's not, I think I'm interested. Why is that not a cult? I mean, I like religion. I'm not an enemy of religion, but there's something about mainstream religion that's like, it's compatible with your everyday life. You can still go to the store.
Yeah, what's so wrong with Scientology then? You know what I mean?
Well, because they're using people for unpaid labor, and they have them sign billion-year contracts.
But isn't the Catholic Church kind of doing that to people?
You're tithing and you give money every Sunday.
Tithing people and people who are, I don't know. I mean, I wonder.
I don't know. I wonder too, but isn't the fact that they're like, I don't know, that they're like, that there's legal threat and that you can't leave.
I know. I mean, it's
like,
I suppose so. I suppose it's different. I mean,
I don't know. I'm just proposing that the evidence looks.
The evidence shows that something like when Steve was saying, like the test to sort of get in is you hold 2 toilet paper rolls with a piece of wire between it, and they ask you questions about your childhood and shit like that. So it's like if that's the criteria, it's probably a cult. But I suppose on the other hand, you got the Mormons. I mean, we're going to be getting letters from the Catholic Church, from Scientologists. Now I'm going to start it on the Mormons, because it's like you started with the Mormons, and it's like that whole thing is kind of crazy sounding. I mean, but it's no less crazy sounding than any of this stuff is. So
well, it's so weird to go back to the beginning of the beginning of the beginning of the beginning, and you're like, who even wrote any of this down? Like, what?
Yeah, well, that's a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and clearly people were just making this shit up, because it's like
hundreds of years after the fact.
But I heard that Kathryn has a thing for the Amish, and I think that
I really do. I love the Amish.
A cult. It's a little culty, isn't it? I mean, it's somewhere in between, maybe.
Why do you love the Amish? Because they hate technology? Or you like the beards? You love those silky beards.
Are sexy.
No zippers.
Just buttons, baby. Just buttons. Come on. Have you ever spent time with the Amish?
No, but I really do think but I lived near it growing up, and I just think there's something like that's so romantic about not in any kind of, I just mean that there's something so.
Yeah, no,
it
romantic.
does not look easy, but there is something so pure about it that is so, and that most people after that, I think it's called Rumspringer. That most people choose to come back.
Do they?
Yeah. And the idea of forgiveness, like, I don't know if you remember, there was like actually a horrible shooting.
Yes.
Of a lot of Amish people, and that they all wrote this letter of forgiveness.
Oh, really?
And there's something about it that is
it's remarkable. It's pretty remarkable,
and that they're able to still maintain like a I don't know, like a sense of
community.
No, like and just like a protective. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. That they maintain anything at all in this world and are not crushed, or, that they still maintain anything going on in this world is kind of. What's the deal with Shakers? Shakers don't exist anymore, right? Because they didn't have sex, right? Were they celibate? We found this out. Someone just told me about this. I don't know if this is true or not, or if you have fact checkers, but because my uncle's.
Nope.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Great.
Believe me. That's really funny that you just said that.
Okay, that's exciting.
I love that.
I probably have said nothing that's true.
No, say whatever shit you want on this. Anything's
I'm so
true.
Excited. Yeah. So busted. But my uncle lives in Shaker Heights, and in Ohio, and so we talked a lot about the Shakers, and he learned that a lot of it kind of died out because I'm not sure exactly why it died out. Because there was something about sex, like something about like that they literally, and they basically killed themselves off because they wouldn't procreate with anybody. Yeah. But the shaking was during the service.
Yeah.
Anyway, they worked it out that way.
Well, they worked out they got their Jim Jams out by doing the shaking, the Holy Spirit.
I think they Jim jammed out during
that was when the Spirit would hit. What was the shaking all about?
That was it. I think it was.
It was all the repressed It was all the repressed.
They worked it out.
Yeah, horny dogness. It was all just.
Yeah, I think they shook it out with the Spirit.
Amazing. Well, we have 5 minutes. So we didn't get to talk. Speaking of like captives, look at this.
Are you
look at this.
Right now?
Look at this. Look at this. Look at what's going on.
Wait,
look
since the last I saw you became a marionette.
Look at what's happening. Look at what's happening here. Oh, okay. This is working out. Isn't this incredible?
Hey, can I get that kind of service?
What does your shirt say?
It says the only good human is a dead human.
Oh God!
Yeah, that's why.
And look at what it is, Kathryn. It's an ape, which brings to mind Travis the chimpanzee.
Oh my God, I think about that all the time.
Do
and
you?
I've gone back and read it again.
Have you've gone back and read about him?
That original amazing story that goes into such detail.
What's that story?
About the cop, too. The thing about the cop. The whole story
is... It's the cop who gets the call.
The cop is the story that fascinates me.
That's the story.
That's the movie I want to make, and I want to play the cop.
I really think you have to.
The story is that there was a woman in beautiful Stamford, Connecticut, who had
Maybe you've heard of it. It's on the Metro line.
It's absolutely. It's a tremendous place. She had she raised, I guess, from its infancy, an adult chimpanzee. And she kept this guy, Travis, in her house. And he was sitting around a diaper, like eating Fruit Loops and watching
he
like fucking.
Past her partner.
Yes.
Her life partner. He died and Travis, they slept in the same bed.
Slept in the same bed. He was treated like a family member, like a husband, almost like a brother.
Son, and then
whole thing. And then one day he just snapped.
This is a detail that I'm going to add because it's important. Travis he was kind of off that day. And so she had to give him a mug with his I think Xanax in it.
I forgot about that.
Because a mug of orange juice. Because he had been acting out.
It's terrible. Yes.
So he had his orange juice with, I'm not sure if it was a Wellbutrin, some antidepressant.
I think it was Wellbutrin. Yes, totally. Brought to you by Travis the chimpanzee.
So anyway, there was a mug of some sort of calming, something. He had to be, he was acting out. He was off. Something was mad about Travis.
Yeah. Yes. And he lost it, and he tore her face off, basically.
Not her friend.
Their neighbor's face. See, you've refreshed yourself about this more recently, which I'm glad.
Her friend came to visit, her dear friend, who also knew Travis since Travis was young.
Yes.
Her friend had a new haircut.
Yep.
This is maybe why they think Travis.
Yeah, that's right. That's why he snapped. Yes.
Out of nowhere, Travis.
Basically, he went crazy, and he went on a rampage around the house. One of the first face transplants, and actually that woman died not too long ago. And the face transplant actually took, I think, for a while. She had a full face transplant.
It was horrible.
But that's the neighbor, not the mom of the chimp. That was the neighbor.
Mom
I don't remember.
was unscathed.
Oh, is that right? I thought
I think it was the friend that really got it.
Okay. There's some theory as to why. I didn't know this story, but it fits with primate behavior, which is that primates like dogs see themselves as in your family, and they see themselves as sort of low down, so that's why they never attack you. But if you show weakness, they will attack you. But then if the woman had a new haircut, she could have been perceived as like an outsider, a threat.
No, but it's like Tillamook. It's like that.
It's a different person that showed up.
The killer whale that lost it with the ponytail.
Oh, is that what drove the killer whale crazy?
That's a theory, is that she had a ponytail and she went like this.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, anyway, so the cop,
it's the guy who then gets the call that says, you have to show up at this house because I don't even know if they told him exactly what was going on. God. But this poor cop who's, he's sitting there hanging out. He's hanging out in Stamford, and he has to go, and he had to track the chimp down. And he had to basically hunt the chimp down and ended up killing the chimp. I think the chimp got in his car, eventually. And I think the chimp ended up in the car and he had to kill it, but he was completely traumatized by it.
Can you imagine?
Retired. And I've always thought it would make a great movie.
Yeah.
It is. It's like a Dog Day Afternoon, but like a weird, like a one day.
I wanted to start two storylines. The woman is with Travis at home and everything's fine. Travis is having his fucking Fruity Pebbles and he's watching The View. He's just hanging out. And then the cop has woken up and he's out. He's having donuts and he's at Dunkin' Donuts and shit. And then the whole thing. And for a lot of the movie, I want a lot of the movie just be banal. It's their lives until everything goes fucking haywire. And then the last 20 minutes of this movie is just insanity.
That's awesome.
Like there's one, I remember a detail is that he saw the woman on the ground. She was still alive and he didn't know what it was because her face, the woman whose face was like, didn't know what it was. And then he saw Travis come around the corner and he just went like this. and the side of literally the gesture was just like this, and the mirror just fell off.
Yeah.
Like he was so strong.
Yeah, they're really strong.
So strong.
Yeah.
They're so fucking strong.
Yeah, they're so
it's insane.
fucking strong.
I've worked with chimpanzees, and I've worked with, and you cannot use them after a certain point. They're very young. Even the little ones, though, and everybody's like, oh, so cute. And the thing climbs up on me, and I'm like, it's not cute. It's really
when they
freaky.
get in adolescence, it's like,
you can't use them.
No.
You can't use them in adolescence.
And you know,
whenever you see a gorilla in a movie,
it's
well,
CGI.
up until now it's CGI, but before it was always a guy in makeup. Because you can't use a real gorilla.
Well, in this early space program, I knew this guy who was involved in the early space program, and around the lab, you know how you like have break this in case of fire, there were handguns, because if a chimp got loose, because they were sending chimps to space, you were just supposed to shoot it because it's too strong and too violent.
Listen, I worked on a movie with a baboon where they trained it to load and fire a gun in the movie. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? I was just like, and it was supposed to shoot at me too. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, that's a whole other topic.
That was a rubber gun. Wait, but lastly, have you ever been to the Museum of Jurassic Technology?
Yes. We love it. We're big fans. We're big fans.
The Russian space dog
love it.
exhibit.
The exhibit of so amazing. So amazing.
Cool.
Kathryn Hahn.
I adore you.
You're a treasure.
Thank you.
I miss you so much.
I miss you so much. You're an international treasure, Kathryn Hahn.
I love you people.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. No, it was a real pleasure.
So much fun. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye for real, though.
Yes.
Okay, can't leave it. I'm never leaving it.
Thanks for joining us on Chinwag. And of course, if you like what we're doing, and even if you don't, especially if you don't, I like a little lively debate. I'd like to get into it with you people. How about you write to us? Because we'd love to hear from you. Post all your burning questions in the comments.
If you have a topic you want us to cover and it's strange enough, then maybe we'll talk about it here on this very podcast.
And please make sure you rate us and leave a review, and then share us with your friends. Why not?
Chinwag is a production of Treefort Media and Touchy Feely Films, hosted and executive produced by Paul Giamatti and Stephen Asma. Executive producers for Treefort are Kelly Garner and Lisa Ammerman. Dan Carey is executive producer for Touchy Feely. Our series producer is Rachel Whitley Bernstein. Original theme music by Luke Topp, with additional music by Via Mardot. Oscar Guido is our executive in charge of production. Tom Monahan is head of audio for Treefort. Audio production supervision by Jared Brom and Matt Dyson. Editing and mixing by Jeff Neal. Animation created by Alex Sokol. Research assistance by Aidan Brooks. Lastly, for more information, go to chinwagpod.fm and find us on Instagram or TikTok at chinwagpod or on Twitter at chinwag_pod.